mentor, someone I really look up to. State Representative Chanel Jackson is here, and I'm going to bring her up here. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're talking about now: power and influence and leadership. And since you're here, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Great. Come on up here.
I'm trying to get a pen so I can take notes.
Oh, you don't need to take notes. All right, so we were just talking about power and influence in there, and the different styles of leadership and the different styles of influence. I mentioned legitimate influence, which is having authority by title in some cases. And I mentioned the state legislature, having that sort of influence over all of our lives. I brought up something that you probably don't want to talk about, but it was a driver's responsibility fee, and how that influences everybody statewide. I don't know if you want to talk about your influence in the state legislature or your leadership in the state legislature. And introduce yourself.
He did say that he didn't know which way you voted on it, so don't. He didn't know.
Since I've been there, I'm Chanel Jackson. I'm the state representative from the 9th District in the city, which is far northwest where the city borders Southfield and where it borders Redmond. Since I've been in office, which was 2007, driver's responsibility has not come up for a vote. I think the law was changed in 2003 or 2004 to initiate what we know today as driver's responsibility laws. I introduced legislation that passed through committee to basically eliminate to keep driver's responsibility fees only for 1 year. This is where we've gotten, to be honest with you. And there actually is a package of bills. Representative Betty Cook Scott ran on driver's responsibility, and so she got out there on that issue, and her position was to eliminate it wholly. I serve on the Appropriations Committee. Eliminating wholly driver's responsibility fees right now with the state of the state's budget really is just not a feasible thing. My brother, we just finished paying off all of his driver's responsibility fees. It's all consuming probably for about 2 years. But the reality is, if we want to maintain services, the quality of life that we're accustomed to, you have to look at the picture holistically. I can't, as one member, get 57 people to agree with me to cut $400 million out of the state's budget. I might be able to get them to agree to cut 2.
Now, I don't want to dwell on driver responsibility fees, but I do want to ask you, and please, she's here to help us learn more about leadership. And I think she has that in the state legislature, and I want to talk to you about influence over other state legislatures. How do you go about getting to that number, that magic number, to get a law passed in Lansing? What kind of influence do you use?
Prayer. And that's real. Prayer. I really believe wholeheartedly that God has moved. God has moved. People have not, I've been in positions where people have moved, I like to call it supernaturally, where they had really no reason to. I wasn't able to offer them anything necessarily in return except that my word would be true. If I tell you yay, it'll be yay. If I tell you nay, it'll be nay. That I'd always be honest with them. But influence, however, if it's the Father or some people maneuver it on their own or whatever the case may be, super and the natural, I'll take both of those. Certainly is valuable and important and is necessary. Because for any vote, for any concept, I got to be able to get 56 votes to get it through the House. Not to mention, I've got to be able to count 20-some votes, 21, 22 votes on the Senate side, because just passing the House doesn't mean that it's law, obviously. So, and then having influence or a relationship with the governor to be able to get her to agree to sign it. And to driver's responsibility, not to stick on that, but it's a great multifaceted issue. So if you would allow me to share, if I could. One, we got to look at it from a budget perspective. Like I said, $1.2 billion budget deficit in GF. GF is general fund, general purpose. Those are the dollars that we can use to pay for roads. That's transportation. We can pay back local municipalities to run their police departments, revenue sharing, that's what that's called. Whatever you give them, everything except schools is GF, okay? School aid is based on not property taxes, excuse me, it's based on sales tax. And school aid is down $450 million this year, okay? So, a lot of times what you have to balance is, and you need your influence to be like the icing on the cake, but the cake is the reality, so the fiscal circumstance of the state. Second layer of the cake is the policy agenda that my constituents sent me to Lansing to fight for. So for Detroiters, that might mean, at least in my district, we need more services. We need more help. We need more programs, wraparound programming for people that come out of prison. We need more programming for mothers to learn how to get themselves, going as it pertains to education and how to get the skills they need to be able to raise their children. We need more medical dollars available to people. Well, all those things cost money. So I have to balance that with the reality. It's the bottom layer of the cake. I'm making this up as we go. The second layer of the cake, which is the needs of my constituents. And then the icing is how much influence can I yield? How much agreement can I get with, how many people can I get to walk with me down the path of compromise or split that cake in the middle? You understand what I'm saying? Because every 110 members got a different cake. They represent a different district who have different needs. Some of my colleagues, I used to get so offended because, for me, I can't see, and it's not even really about my district, it's a moral issue for me. Morality is, different things are moral to different people. When you talk about cutting Medicaid services to people that don't qualify for Medicaid, right now, if you are a man and you have a mental condition, a certified condition that we know you need psychotropic medicine for, okay? But you are not Medicaid eligible, which is, there's many men like that, and women. Right now, the state pays for you to get some basic medicines to keep you straight, okay? Well, with the reality of our budget circumstance, last year I, myself, and the chairman of the subcommittee, our vice chair, were able to keep the funding there for that. This year, it's on the table to be cut. Because there's not enough people that agree that it's a moral issue like I do. So when you talk about driver's responsibility and something that's a revenue enhancement, I'm just being 100% with you. Right now, in this economy, unlikely that we would ever get to eliminate it in this economy because of just what it does for the state's revenue. We might be able to get it cut down, but we probably will not be able to get it eliminated. And eliminating $400 million from the state's budget, truthfully, mostly hurts Detroit.
Right.
So those are the things that you have to balance and then use your influence to get other people to agree with you once you balance it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's...
That was